Hello and welcome to Policy Bazaar. I'm Arjun Bhagat. Now, buying health insurance to take care of sudden medical emergencies is prudent financial planning. But is pregnancy an unplanned medical emergency? Not really. But companies offer protection against any medical risk when a mother is with a child. To help us understand the nuances of health insurance related to pregnancy, we have with us Yashish Dhaya, CEO and founder of Policy Bazaar. Welcome to the show, Yashish. What's the scope of health insurance and pregnancy, and is it catching on?
So with the younger group, one of the primary reasons why people do end up opting for health insurance is because they see pregnancy as a expense that's coming on, and it'll be good if some portion of that gets taken on by health insurance in some manner. So it's a cost dissemination, kind of mechanism, cost dissipation kind of mechanism. And while I personally do not believe one should look at insurance for any cost that is a certainty or a near certainty. Insurance is for those costs which have got a very low probability and a very high impact. So as I said, death, critical illness, disability, or large health diseases or health diseases. This is not a disease. It is something which one plans for. Having a child, when people get married, they do plan they'll have a couple of children, and hence people should financially plan for it. However, if the reality, you can't hide from the fact is a lot of young people take health cover cost as well, and so be it. And most companies do provide this health cover as well. So I think the reality is people do take health insurance for pregnancy.
So now, as you said, it is widely available with a lot of companies offering it. What are some of the plans that young couples can look at?
So almost every company has it. Whether you're looking at Apollo, Star Health, Max Bupa, ICICI Lombard, HDFC Ergo, New India Assurance, Oriental. You've got L&T Insurance. So all of these companies, almost everybody has a cover. Star Health goes on to actually create a product specifically designed at maternity, which is essentially to be sold as a wedding gift. So you could gift that to a newly married couple. So there is a lot of effort from insurance companies to get on board younger people, because of course there will be a medical cost, but if they can start their health insurance cover early, they would not face the problems in the longer run. So in a way, it's an incentive for younger people to take on this cover, while it's not necessarily insurance, but in a way, they know that they will get this advantage of 25,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees, depending on whether they have one child or two children. And that is a sort of incentive for younger people to get onto the bandwagon of health insurance, so that they can carry on that cover into their life over time and get the benefits of health cover over the older ages.
So what about women working in corporates or companies? Is the health insurance easily available, and then how is the premium decided in that case?
So most of the corporate covers cover maternity from day one. Some may have a waiting period of 90 days or 9 months, but most of them will cover maternity from day one. And hence it's advantageous in some respect to get maternity covered through the corporate cover. The premium that the corporate has to pay would somewhat depend upon the age of individuals, and yes, there is a certain factor assumed for maternity cost when people are at a certain age, because whether it is younger couples or younger women or younger men, because families are covered in a group cover. So yeah, group cover is a good way to get maternity cover from day one. Most of the private, most of all insurance plans which are available to individuals do not provide maternity cover from day one. You do have to be part of the policy for between 24 to 48 months before you can start availing maternity cover.
So what you're saying is better to plan in advance when you get married or shortly after that, if you're planning to have kids.
If one does, most people intend having kids, and hence the right time to take a policy in case you were to try and get these costs covered through insurance is pretty much when you get married, because then you have a run time of between 2 to 4 years before the children happen, and that's the run time that these policies require before they can start giving you a coverage.
So let's talk about some of the specifics of a maternity plan or a health insurance which covers maternity. What are the inclusions and what are some of the exclusions in that?
Sure. So most policies will cover a certain amount, which is roughly about 15,000 rupees per pregnancy in case of a normal delivery, and about 25,000 rupees in case of a cesarean delivery. Now, people who've been through these costs recently would appreciate that at least in the metros, these costs are not sufficient. The costs are a lot higher now. They're about twice this. So the point is the insurance companies will only cover a proportion of this. And what I'm mentioning is at a policy sum assured of about 5 lakh rupees. So if you have a 5 lakh rupees sum assured, there would be about 15,000, 25,000 rupees covered for maternity. Pre-hospitalization and post-hospitalization expenses are taken care of in the sense, the immediate tests that happen just before delivery and some of the care that needs to be taken post delivery, inoculations, etc., are covered in these. As far as the child is concerned, most insurance policies would not cover a child in the first 90 days and some up to 270 days from birth. And hence, if you wanted something which would cover a child from day one, you would specifically have to go for a policy which does cover from day one. Another important thing is the things that are not included in most of the maternity covers are monthly checkups and consultation fees to the doctors. Because remember, a health insurance policy typically covers you once you have been to hospital for more than 24 hours and are admitted for longer than 24 hours. So going to a doctor for a checkup on a monthly basis and coming back, those costs are usually not included. Also, abortions unfortunately are not covered by most health insurance plans, I would say all health insurance plans. So those are the kind of factors to take into account when you look at.
So when you say abortion, that means because of a medical
in case of any unfortunate, so see, emergency abortions which have to happen because it's a medical requirement would get covered. Because as long as the health policy can cover
not because
those.
Of congenital diseases.
Yeah, because of not voluntary. So if you have any voluntary abortion which is not because of an emergency, whether it is because there is some disease or whether it is because you just don't want to have the child, those are not covered by medical. Those are voluntary expenses which the individual is required to take on their own.
So, what advice would you give to the newlyweds in terms of planning for that eventuality? I mean, what you are saying is that, the premiums are going to be much higher if you do take maternity benefits, right?
My advice, and I may be dithering a bit on this, is
because you did talk about that it's not sufficient.
It's not sufficient, but at the same time, I think it's an incentive for the younger group to take health cover. So as soon as you're married, in case you individually don't already have a health cover, it's advisable to take a health cover. And as long as you take it from one of these companies, well, the premium will be slightly higher. You would, within the 4 to 5 years or 4 to 6 years, your cost would come down by roughly about 50,000 rupees. See, most people, I say a majority of people, would end up having about 2 children in a period of about 6 years. And so if you look at the premium you're paying, that would pretty much be the same. So if you might be paying about 6,000, 7,000 rupees per year, and over the 6-year period, that'll be about 50,000 rupees. If you net present value that, about 50,000 rupees you would get back. So in a way, you do end up getting your health insurance for effectively no cost to you out of pocket. And it does have a tax advantage as well, because as you are investing in this, you do get a tax advantage up to 15,000 rupees per investor for each one of you. If both of you are earning, you could get a tax advantage 30,000 rupees out of that. So advisable for young couples to get into these plans. However, know that they would only cover up to a certain amount. They would not cover the total cost. And pregnancy or childbirth is something that needs to be financially planned for. Of course, you may have a corporate policy which would cover a bulk of the costs as well, because if you're working, you are most likely to have that. So take those decisions, but have an individual plan. And if this helps you make the decision to get an individual plan, please do go ahead, because you may use this from a maternity perspective till about 35, 40, but as you get older, the same policy will come in very handy as any critical illness steps into any one of the two parties. It does help in the longer run to retain that same cover.
We're talking about maternity benefits in health insurance plans, and we have been getting a lot of emails, we've been getting a lot of queries about medical, how to cover costs, and what is that perfect medical or maternity package that one can really look at if a couple is only looking at that benefit.
Sure. So if your primary incentive to take the health insurance policy is the maternity cover, then one of the things that's most important to you is how soon does the maternity cover start. While most policies, this will start in about 4 years, two specific policies, one from Max Bupa and one from Star Health, the wait periods are 24 months and 27 months each. Both of them cover you up to 2 childbirths, and they are fairly comprehensive plans. So I would say if the primary purpose of taking health cover or the primary driving force for the decision to buy health cover at an early age is maternity or the costs of maternity, then go in for one of these 2 plans because they do have a lower wait period. So within 2 years you'll be able to get the benefit. Other companies mostly have a wait period of 3 to 4 years, and what that implies is for the first 3 to 4 years if there's a childbirth, those would not get covered. I think even relatives, specifically elders, can look at it as, we give so many gifts to children. I think a health policy is a great way to get the couple started in life towards a long stage with the health cover. And of course there's an immediate benefit that will come through to the couple, while the person who's donating will essentially pay only for the first year because you cannot pay the future premiums upfront. The couple can continue that benefit and essentially get up to 50,000 rupees saved over the next 4 to 6 years.
Right, it's now time for viewers' questions. We've got Shankar Chaudhary from Haryana who writes, I'm 33 years old. I'm covered along with my family, wife and child for 4 lakhs through my company's group Mediclaim policy. I'm considering taking a personal cover as well. Would you recommend going for a top-up insurance plans? He also says not all insurers seem to offer it. Are there any particular disadvantages or caveats to keep in mind when considering a top-up plan? Yashish.
I think it's a very good idea to go for a top-up plan. There are 2 kinds of, there are 2 things to be taken care of in a top-up plan. One is how many times can the cover be used. So there's something called a top-up plan and something called a super top-up plan. So in a top-up plan, what happens is your single claim, suppose you have a 4 lakh cover with the company, a single claim must go over 4 lakh rupees. So you must have a single 6 lakh rupee claim for you to claim 2 lakh rupees from top-up. That is not very useful. However, in a super top-up, anytime your total claim goes above 4 lakhs, the super top-up will come into play. So it's just like an extension of a health insurance policy, and you would get all the benefits. Now the second part is renewability. Now there are 2 features with a super top-up. Once you have a super top-up, at the point when your company cover stops, will the fact that you've had a super top-up, will it imply that your company cover can be provided by the super top-up company once your company cover is over? So let me explain this again. Suppose you have a 4 lakh rupee cover and you have taken a 6 lakh rupee super top-up on top of this 4 lakh rupee cover, so you're covered up to 10 lakh rupees. Now you've turned 65, you're retiring. Tomorrow, your company cover will stop operating and you do not have any other cover, and you're not even able to get it. There are certain super top-ups which would guarantee you today that when you turn 65, that base 4 lakh rupee cover will be provided by the super top-up. There will of course be a cost to it, but you're guaranteed the fact that you will get it, and whatever's the market price, then you would receive it at that value. So the super top-ups that I'm aware of which are doing quite well in the market, one comes from L&T Health and the other one comes from Apollo, and of course other companies are also putting together their products in offering super top-ups, and I think it's a great way. Somebody taking a 4 lakh rupee health cover can easily extend it to 10 lakh rupees by just paying about half more premium. So if you're paying 6,000 rupees, you probably pay 3,000 rupees more and take your cover from 4 lakhs to 10 lakhs. Makes total mathematical sense, and it makes, so the company is being sensible. There's no catch here. It is a very sensible thing because your claims above 4 lakhs are very few, but when they do occur, they are big. They can have a big impact, and hence super top-up makes sense whether you have a corporate cover, whether you have a base cover, and specifically with this advantage of renewability, they can become very powerful. So do explore these the next time you're looking for health insurance.
Right, we've got Murthy from Kerala. He asks, are riders available for SBI Life Home Insurance Rin Raksha? I think there's a little bit of a confusion in this.
Yeah, so this is not a home insurance plan. Rin Raksha. Rin is your loan repayment that you have to make. It's the interest cost of your loan repayment, and it basically protects against that. So it's a life insurance cover. It covers life insurance, it covers disability, It also covers critical illness for up to 12 months. So for 12 premiums that you need to pay, 12 installments, 12 EMIs can be paid by this policy. If you have a critical illness, the entire loan can be paid if there is a death or disability. And it's a good cover, but it's a little more expensive than a pure term cover. So if you are thinking along those lines, I would advise you to go down the route of a pure term cover with some disability and critical illness benefit, because once this loan is over or paid off, you would still have the advantage of the term cover, and the term cover is likely to be less expensive than the Rin Raksha cover. However, it's not a home insurance. It is meant to protect the lender. In case something happened to you, the lender would get their monies back.
Right, we've got Ajay Rathore from Jodhpur. He says, what is the process of a Mediclaim portability? What is the role of an insurance agent?
Basically, it'll be very difficult for an insurance agent to give you portability. You would either have to go to a broker or an aggregator or something of that sort. Somebody who deals in more than one company. Insurance agent by definition deals with one company, so I don't know how they can port you from one company which they have sold to you to another company. That's like technically it's not possible. They may be able to do so through multiple agencies. Now, what you need to do is 45 days in advance, apply to the company that you want to port to with full details of your current medical plan and your current medical history. They may or may not be a medical. They will take about 45 days to come back to you on whether they can cover you or cannot cover you, or with the price that is there. Before this 45 days is over, if they have not come back to you, do not worry about the mistake they have made, etc. Please pay your premium and continue with your policy. So don't disconnect from your policy, don't lapse your policy because you're awaiting the decision from the new company. But that's the basic process. 45 days in advance, you can apply. Once the company informs you of the decision, you can pay for the new policy and let the old policy lapse, and you would have ported from one to the other.
So what's the experience been as far as portability? Because it's early days.
Roughly about 40%. See, why do people apply for portability? There are two reasons. One reason is they have had a bad experience. Now, the bad experience implies they've had a claim which did not get paid, or there was some confusion around it, right? The second reason is they have heard there's a new policy that has come out which gives far better service and far better features, and hence they just want to move on. And that is entirely feasible. In the last 4-5 years, you've seen a lot of innovation out there, and so the people who've had a 10-year-old policy, those policies are looking quite clunky compared to the smarter new policies that are out there. And so a person may actually want to change plans. So about 40-50%, about half the people are there looking to change plans. About half the people are there who've already developed a disease and now just want better servicing. I think the people who already developed a disease find it difficult to move because see, the insurance company is also a financial institution. Why should it take on a known risk? If it already knows something exists, that is no longer a risk, that's a definite cost. Right. So the insurance company is totally in its rights to shy away from that.
Right. Well, we've got Jay from Assam, and he says, I met with an accident recently and my car suffered a lot of damage. Since I was hospitalized around the time of my premium payment for my car insurance, I could not pay the premium. Can I still claim for damages on my car?
So on the day that the accident happened, on the day that the damage happened, was your car insured or not insured? If it was, you can claim. If after the lapse of the policy you had this accident, then of course it is out of coverage and you cannot get it covered. So it's really that simple. So on the day of the accident, was your insurance policy running? If it was running and it has lapsed later, no problem, you can still go back and claim. However, if the accident actually happened post your policy lapsing, you cannot claim.
Right, that's all the time that we have, Yashish, on our show. But do write to us at ask.policybazaar.com or tweet us at policybazaar_in, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.